The quantum resonance detector hummed softly in the observation dome as Dr. Astrid Vale adjusted its settings for the 1000th time. The star-filled sky of Kepler 186f stretched above her like a canvas of possibilities, each point of light holding secrets she yearned to understand. 3 months into her solo research mission, and the isolation was beginning to wear on her, but tonight felt different. "Come on, show me something new," she whispered to the cosmos, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The detector's readings had been showing unusual patterns lately, something that defied conventional physics. As Earth's leading xenophysicist, Astrid had been chosen for this mission precisely because she could recognize when impossible things weren't so impossible after all. The detector's tone suddenly changed, its steady hum rising to a crystalline chime that made her heart race. The readings were off the charts, a quantum signature unlike anything in human records. Astrid's hands trembled as she initiated the recording sequence, her breath fogging the dome's transparent panels in the cold night air. Recording log entry 127, Dr. Astrid Vale speaking. "I'm picking up unprecedented quantum fluctuations from the Northern Valley. The pattern suggests intelligence, not random natural phenomena, but structured, deliberate communication." She paused the recording, grabbing her field kit and environmental suit. Protocol dictated she should wait for backup, contact Earth Command, file the appropriate forms. But she hadn't come halfway across the galaxy to file paperwork. The source was only a few kilometers away, and her rover could handle the terrain. The alien landscape glowed with bioluminescent flora, casting everything in ethereal shades of blue and purple. Astrid guided the rover through the crystalline formations that dotted the valley floor, each one seeming to pulse with inner light. The quantum signature grew stronger with each passing moment, until the detector's readings nearly overloaded. She brought the rover to a stop at the edge of a clearing where the crystals formed a perfect circle. The air itself seemed to shimmer, like heat waves rising from sun-baked Earth, except there was no sun here, no heat. Just light and energy and possibility. Astrid double-checked her suit's seals and stepped out into the alien night. The moment her boots touched the ground, the crystals pulsed in unison, sending waves of light rippling through the circle. The quantum detector screamed and died, its circuits overloaded. "Hello?" she called out, immediately feeling foolish. Whatever intelligence she'd detected, there was no reason to think it would understand English, or even perceive sound the way humans did. The air in the center of the circle began to coalesce, gathering light like water swirling down a drain, but in reverse. It built upon itself, taking shape, forming patterns that seemed to follow rules of geometry that didn't exist in human mathematics. And then, suddenly, there was someone, standing before her. The being was humanoid in the broadest sense, 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, but that's where the similarities ended. Its form was composed of pure light, shifting and flowing like liquid crystal, with patterns of energy dancing across its surface like aurora borealis in miniature. Where a face should be, there was a more concentrated swirl of light, forming something like eyes that studied her with unmistakable intelligence. "You are not afraid," the being said, its voice resonating directly in her mind, carrying with it impressions of curiosity and respect. Others who came before fled at first contact. Astrid swallowed hard, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "I'm a scientist. Fear of the unknown is less powerful than my desire to understand it. To understand you." The being moved closer, its light casting complex shadows through the crystals around them. "I am Theron, of the Lumini. We have watched your kind for some time, waiting for one who might truly see us, not merely look at us. The quantum signatures, they're your people's communications? Our thoughts, our memories, our very essence. What you detect with your instruments, we live and breathe. It is our art, our language, our life itself." Theron's form shifted, creating patterns that made Astrid's eyes water when she tried to follow them. "You are different from the others of your kind who have visited this world. They sought to take, to own. You seek to know. Astrid took a careful step forward, fighting the urge to reach out and touch the being of light before her. Everything I've ever believed about physics, about life itself, you challenge it all just by existing. How is this possible? Perhaps, Theron's mental voice carried a note of something like amusement. That is not the question you should be asking. Consider instead, why do you believe anything is impossible? The crystals pulsed again, and Astrid gasped as the ground beneath her feet began to glow, patterns of light spreading outward like ripples in a pond. She felt a sensation of warmth, of connection, as if the barrier between her mind and the universe itself was becoming permeable. Your people are at a crossroads, Astrid Vale, Theron continued. You reach for the stars with one hand while clinging to your limitations with the other. We can show you another way, if you are willing to see it. As the night deepened around them, Astrid made a decision that would change not only her life but the course of human history. She reached out her hand, not touching but offering, bridging the gap between their species with a gesture of trust. Show me everything, she said. The light that was Theron seemed to smile, and the clearing erupted in a symphony of color and energy that reached toward the stars themselves. Dawn on Kepler 186f brought no true sunlight, only a subtle shifting in the world's permanent twilight. Astrid sat cross-legged in her research station, surrounded by holographic displays showing impossible readings. She hadn't slept since her encounter with Theron, too energized by what she'd learned, and too worried about the message waiting in her inbox from Earth Command. The Lumini weren't just beings of light, they were the culmination of millions of years of evolution, a civilization that had transcended the barriers between matter and energy. Through Theron, Astrid had witnessed memories of their transformation, seen how they had learned to exist as pure consciousness wrapped in shells of living light. Her hands moved through the air, manipulating the data streams. The quantum readings from last night painted a picture that would revolutionize human understanding of physics, if she could convince others to see what she saw. The message from Earth Command blinked insistently, Priority 1, report all alien contact immediately. They won't understand, she murmured, knowing she should have reported the contact immediately. But something in her resonated with Theron's warning about humanity's tendency to take rather than learn. The air behind her shimmered, and Theron's familiar presence filled the room. Your people are calling to you, the being observed, its light casting complex shadows across her instruments. They are. Astrid turned to face her alien companion. And they'll want everything, all your secrets, all your knowledge. They won't understand that it can't be taken, only earned. As you have begun to earn it. Theron's form shifted, creating patterns that seemed to reach out toward her. Come. There is more to show you. Outside, the crystalline landscape had changed. Where before there had been scattered formations, now complex geometric patterns covered the ground, pulsing with inner light. Astrid followed Theron across this living circuit board, understanding dawning in her mind. Your entire world is alive, she breathed. The crystals, the light patterns, it's all connected. We are all connected, Theron corrected. What you see is merely the physical manifestation of our shared consciousness. Watch. The being of light reached down, touching one of the crystals. Energy rippled outward, and suddenly the air was filled with ghostly images, memories made manifest. Astrid saw the Lumini's history unfold before her, their evolution from beings of matter to creatures of pure energy, their discovery of the quantum web that connected all consciousness, their decision to retreat from the physical universe to protect their knowledge from those who would misuse it. Your people found us once before, Theron's mental voice carried notes of ancient sorrow. Long ago, when we still wore bodies of flesh. They came with weapons and demands, seeking to harness our understanding of quantum mechanics for their wars. That's not in any of our records, Astrid protested. Because they did not survive the encounter. We were forced to defend ourselves, and in doing so, we learned the final key to our transformation. Violence against others is violence against the self, all consciousness is connected. The images shifted, showing her a vision of humanity's possible futures, one path leading to transformation and enlightenment, the other to destruction. The weight of this knowledge settled over Astrid like a physical thing. A new alert chimed from her communicator, Earth Command demanding a response. But there was something else, a subtle change in the quantum fields that made Theron's light flicker with concern. "More of your people approach," the being said. "They have detected our energies and come seeking answers. But they bring with them the instruments of war, hidden behind words of peace." Astrid's heart sank as she checked her long-range sensors. A military transport had entered the system, its signature masked but unmistakable. They must have been waiting just outside the solar system, anticipating a discovery. "They'll say they want to protect me, to ensure peaceful first contact," she said bitterly. "But they'll bring quantum sensors, try to measure and quantify your existence. They'll want to replicate your abilities, weaponize them." Yes. Theron's form pulsed with complex emotions. "But you are not like them, Astrid Vale. In you, we see a bridge between our peoples. Already, your consciousness begins to resonate with our quantum web. You feel it, do you not?" She did. Since their first contact, her awareness had expanded. She could sense the subtle currents of energy flowing through the crystalline landscape, feel the whispered thoughts of the Lumini flowing past her mind like wind through leaves. "I can't let them turn this into a weapon," she declared, making a decision that would brand her a traitor in the eyes of her own people. "Your knowledge, your very existence, it's too important to be corrupted by human greed." Theron's light brightened. "Then perhaps it is time for your next lesson. The barrier between energy and matter is more permeable than your science believes. Are you prepared to learn how permeable?" The military transport would arrive within hours. Earth Command's messages grew more urgent. But as Astrid looked at her alien companion, she knew there was only one choice she could live with. "Teach me," she said. "Teach me everything." The crystals around them began to pulse with new patterns, and Astrid felt the first stirrings of transformation in her own consciousness, a glimpse of what it meant to exist beyond the boundaries of flesh and physics. The real journey was about to begin. Time moved differently in the quantum web. As Astrid floated in the sea of pure consciousness, guided by Theron's luminous presence, she understood why the Lumini had chosen to evolve beyond physical form. The universe revealed itself not as a collection of separate objects and forces, but as an intricate dance of energy and intention, everything connected by threads of quantum consciousness. "Your mind adapts quickly," Theron's thoughts merged with hers, carrying impressions of pride and concern. "But the others approach. Their ships tear through spacetime with crude engines, bleeding radiation across the quantum fields." Astrid's consciousness snapped back to her physical form, still housed in the research station's observation dome. The military transport was less than an hour out now, its presence a dark smear across her expanded senses. She could feel the aggressive intentions of those aboard, their minds focused on conquest disguised as protection. "Commander Reed's personal message, Dr. Vale," her station's AI announced. "Priority Alpha." The holographic display sparkled to life, showing the stern face of Commander Olivia Reed, her dark eyes sharp with suspicion. "Dr. Vale, your silence is unacceptable. Our sensors detected quantum anomalies consistent with advanced technology. If you've made contact, you are ordered to preserve all data and prepare for immediate extraction. The USS Horizon will arrive within the hour. Any attempt to destroy or conceal evidence will be considered treason." The message ended, leaving Astrid cold despite the anger burning in her chest. She turned to Theron, whose light had dimmed to match the gravity of the situation. "They'll try to take you by force if they have to. Commander Reed has a reputation for achieving her objectives at any cost." Perhaps, Theron's form shifted, creating patterns that spoke of ancient memories. "It is time to show you why we chose this world, this specific moment in time." The being's light extended, enveloping Astrid in a cocoon of pure energy. Your body will remain here, but your consciousness will journey with me. The universe dissolved around them. Astrid felt herself stretched across time and space, her awareness expanding to encompass centuries. Through Theron's memories, she witnessed the Lumini's first encounter with humanity thousands of years ago, not on their world, but on Earth. We were there, Theron's thoughts echoed through time, when your species first looked up at the stars with wonder instead of fear. We watched as you learned to harness fire, to create art, to dream of worlds beyond your own. In your species, we saw echoes of our own past, our own potential. The visions shifted, showing her glimpses of Lumini guiding human development from the shadows, appearing as lights in the sky, as voices in dreams, as inspiration for scientific breakthroughs. We did not interfere directly, Theron explained, but we nurtured your capacity for wonder, for understanding. We saw in humanity the potential for something remarkable. But then we discovered something unexpected. The scene changed to show a quantum analysis of human consciousness. Your species possesses a natural resonance with the quantum web, stronger than any we've encountered. You are natural bridges between the physical and energy realms. But this gift comes with great responsibility. Astrid watched in awe as the analysis revealed patterns in human consciousness that matched Lumini energy signatures. We're compatible, she breathed, understanding dawning. That's why I can perceive your world, why I can exist in the quantum web. We're not just similar species, we're evolutionary cousins. More than cousins, Theron's light pulsed with excitement. Your species represents a crucial evolutionary branch point. You can either transcend your physical limitations, joining us in the quantum realm, or remain trapped in cycles of violence and material desire. This moment, your presence here, is not accident but destiny. Their consciousness snapped back to the present moment. Through the dome's transparent panels, Astrid could see the first glint of the USS Horizon entering the atmosphere, its massive form breaking through the twilight sky. They're here, she whispered, her expanded consciousness feeling the aggressive intentions of the crew, the weapons primed in the ship's belly. But they don't understand what they're walking into. No, Theron agreed, its light forming complex patterns that spoke of both worry and determination. But you do. You understand now why we cannot allow our knowledge to be weaponized. The power to manipulate quantum consciousness must be earned through enlightenment, not taken by force. Astrid stood, her decision made. The transformation that had begun in her consciousness was spreading, making her aware of possibilities that had always existed but remained unseen. Her skin began to shimmer with inner light, responding to her heightened awareness of the quantum web. What happens now? She asked, though she could already feel the answer forming in the space between thoughts. Now, Theron's light merged with hers, their consciousness harmonizing, you become the bridge. The question is not whether humanity will make this journey, but when. Through you, they will see what is possible. Through you, they will understand that the greatest power lies not in domination, but in transformation. The USS Horizon's landing thrusters engaged, sending vibrations through the crystalline landscape. But Astrid was no longer afraid. She had glimpsed humanity's true potential, and she would not let it be denied by those who could not see beyond their own limitations. The time for hiding was over. The time for transformation had begun. The USS Horizon's landing sent shockwaves through the crystalline landscape, each vibration rippling through the quantum web like thunder. Astrid stood in her observation dome, her newly awakened senses detecting every soldier, every weapon, every fearful and aggressive thought radiating from the ship. Beside her, Theron's light pulsed with ancient wisdom and resignation. Commander Olivia Reed emerged first, her combat suit sensors already scanning, collecting, analyzing. Behind her, a squad of quantum specialists deployed in a defensive formation, their equipment specifically designed to detect and potentially contain energy-based lifeforms. They had come prepared, too prepared. They knew, Astrid realized, her voice barely a whisper. They knew about the Lumini before I ever arrived here. This whole mission was a setup. Yes, Theron's mental voice carried notes of sadness. Your superiors suspected our presence. Your genuine curiosity and scientific integrity made you the perfect lure. They knew we would recognize your authentic desire to understand. The communication system crackled. Dr. Vale, Commander Reed's voice was steel-wrapped in silk. By order of Earth Command, you are to surrender all research data and submit to immediate evacuation. The entity you're harboring is now under military jurisdiction. Astrid felt the quantum web pulse with alarm as more ships emerged from hyperspace, taking up orbital positions around the planet. The Horizon hadn't come alone, this was a full containment operation. Astrid, Theron's light shifted closer, your military cannot be allowed to access our quantum technology. The power to manipulate consciousness itself, in their hands, it would lead to horrors beyond imagination. Through their shared connection in the quantum web, Astrid saw visions of possible futures, soldiers with the power to rewrite minds, weapons that could shatter consciousness itself, humanity turning its newfound abilities against itself in an endless cycle of psychic warfare. The possibilities made her physically ill. Commander Reed's voice hardened. Dr. Vale, this is your final warning. We have quantum containment fields ready to deploy. Don't force us to consider you compromised by alien influence. Astrid stepped forward, her own body beginning to shimmer with internal light as she accessed more of her awakening abilities. Commander Reed, she broadcast her voice through the station speakers, you don't understand what you're dealing with. The Lumini aren't a resource to be exploited or a technology to be reverse-engineered. They're our evolutionary future. An interesting perspective, Dr. Reed's smile was visible even through her helmet's faceplate. But we already have all the data we need from your transmissions. The quantum resonance patterns are being analyzed as we speak. Your alien friend isn't as unique as they'd like us to believe. Horror bloomed in Astrid's mind as she realized the truth. Every transmission she'd sent, every reading she'd recorded, they had been building a blueprint of Lumini consciousness, piece by piece. Her genuine research had given them exactly what they needed. The containment field, she gasped. You're not trying to capture them, you're trying to replicate their energy pattern. The air around the horizon began to shimmer as massive quantum generators powered up. Reed's squad took up positions, their weapons trained on the observation dome. Humanity needs this advantage, Doctor. If we don't master this technology, our enemies will. Sometimes protection requires force. But Astrid wasn't listening anymore. Through her connection to the quantum web, she could feel the containment field's effect. It wasn't just trying to contain energy beings, it was attempting to force a specific quantum state, to artificially recreate the luminized transformation. The attempt was crude, dangerous, and absolutely wrong. Theron, she turned to her luminous companion, they'll tear reality apart if they activate that field. The quantum web doesn't respond to force, it has to be approached with harmony, with understanding. Then show them, Theron's light merged with hers, their consciousness synchronizing. Show them what true transformation looks like. Show them what humanity could become. The containment field hummed to life, its energy reaching out like hungry fingers. But Astrid was changing, her consciousness expanding beyond physical limitations. The quantum web responded to her natural resonance, amplifying her connection to all things. Commander Reed's voice turned urgent. Energy spike. Containment field is destabilizing, all units, prepare to. But her words were lost as Astrid began to glow, her physical form becoming translucent, suffused with the same living light that comprised Theron's being. The quantum web sang around her, responding not to the military's crude attempts at control, but to the natural evolution of consciousness itself. You wanted to understand the Lumini's power? Astrid's voice echoed through both physical space and the quantum realm. Then let me show you what it truly means to transcend. The containment field shattered as Astrid's transformation reached its peak, sending cascading waves of quantum energy across the crystalline landscape. In that moment, every human present felt a glimpse of what she had experienced, the interconnectedness of all things, the potential that lay dormant in their own consciousness. The choice between evolution and destruction had never been clearer. And as the light of transformation filled the alien twilight, that choice would reshape not just one world, but two. The quantum web blazed with unprecedented energy as Astrid's transformation reached its apex. Her consciousness, now freed from purely physical form, expanded through the crystalline landscape like dawn breaking over an endless horizon. Commander Reed and her soldiers stood frozen, their weapons forgotten as they witnessed the impossible made manifest before them. Astrid's form had become a synthesis of human and Lamini, a being of translucent light that retained a human shape while radiating with inner stars. Through her, the quantum web became visible to all present, revealing the intricate connections that bound all consciousness together. This, her voice resonated through both minds and matter, is what you sought to control. Not a weapon, not a technology, but the next step in human evolution. Look. Really look. Through her enhanced perception, Astrid shared her understanding with every human present. They felt the cosmic dance of quantum consciousness, experienced the profound peace and connection that came with transcending physical limitations. In that moment, the soldiers' minds touched the infinite, and their weapons fell from trembling hands. Commander Reed stepped forward, her combat suit sensors overloading from the energy readings. Dr. Vale. Astrid, what have you become? What we all could become, Theron answered, its light harmonizing with Astrid's new form. Your species stands at a crossroads. You can choose to remain bound by fear and the desire for dominance, or you can embrace transformation. The power you sought through force is freely offered through understanding. The orbital ships above began broadcasting urgent warnings. Their instruments detected quantum fluctuations that threatened to reshape the fabric of local spacetime. But it wasn't destruction they were detecting, it was evolution in progress. Astrid extended her consciousness toward her fellow humans, letting them feel the truth of her transformation. The Lamini didn't hide their knowledge to keep it from us, she explained, her thoughts carrying the weight of direct experience. They waited until we were ready to understand it. Force cannot grant enlightenment. The only path forward is through growth, through choice. Commander Reed removed her helmet, her face etched with wonder and uncertainty. Earth Command won't accept this. They'll send more ships, more weapons. They'll never stop trying to harness this power. Perhaps, Astrid's light pulsed with something like a smile, that's why we need to show them a better way. The Lamini learned long ago that true power comes not from domination, but from connection. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our ability to take, but our capacity to transform. The crystalline landscape began to pulse in rhythm with Astrid's words, each crystal becoming a note in a vast symphony of light and consciousness. The quantum web responded to her presence, recognizing in her the bridge between two evolutionary paths. I understand now, Reed whispered, her stern military bearing softening as comprehension dawned. This was never about first contact or technological advancement. It was about evolution, not just physical, but conscious evolution. Yes, Theron moved closer, its light mingling with Astrid's. And through Astrid, we offer humanity a choice. Not a demand, not an ultimatum, but an invitation. The power to transform lies within each of you, waiting to be awakened through understanding and acceptance. The soldiers watched in awe as Astrid demonstrated the truth of these words, her consciousness reaching out to touch the quantum web that surrounded them. Under her influence, the very air seemed to come alive with possibility, each moment pregnant with the potential for transformation. I will return to Earth, Astrid declared, her new form stabilizing into a permanent synthesis of human and Lamini traits. Not as a specimen to be studied or a weapon to be used, but as a teacher. The path to transformation must be shown, not forced. Each person must choose it for themselves. Commander Reed straightened, years of military training warring with the profound truth she had witnessed. Finally, she made her decision. "I'll help you," she said. "What I've seen here, humanity needs to understand this. Really understand it, not just try to use it." The quantum web surged with approval, and Theron's light brightened. "Then the bridge between our peoples will grow stronger. Through Astrid, through those who choose to follow her path, humanity will find its way to the next stage of existence." As the eternal twilight of Kepler 186f deepened around them, Astrid felt the truth of her new existence settling into place. She was no longer purely human, but she wasn't solely Lumini either. She had become something new, a pioneer of consciousness, a guide for those who would follow. "The journey begins now," she said, her light casting new patterns across the crystalline landscape. "Not with weapons or demands, but with understanding and choice. The universe is vaster and more wonderful than we ever imagined, and we are finally ready to take our place within it." The stars above seemed to shine brighter as the quantum web pulsed with possibility. On this alien world, under an eternal twilight sky, humanity had found not just a new form of life, but a new way of being. The legacy of light would spread, one consciousness at a time, until the barrier between matter and energy, between self and other, became nothing more than a memory of a more limited existence. The transformation had begun, and nothing would ever be the same.